but it's not always close to the earth. يعني, like they keep getting further away, but today you can see them with your naked eye.
Okay.
And the next time they will be this close, as I read, will be 60 years from now.
Wow,
We hope to be alive to witness that.
Yeah, so it's a one-time opportunity. Good. I think we're having 48 participants.
Yep.
Yeah, perfect.
All right, guys. So for those who have not watched the videos, I'm pasting them again in the chat box. So until we start, you can like at least open one of them, because we will have a Mentimeter activity to start with.
Yes. I think, Mona, I can share like one of the videos now, like for the participants to see them while we are waiting for more to join. What do you think?
Right. Yes, yes, we can.
Perfect. I will do it now. Okay. I will just activate the sound. Everything's good. Perfect.
Design thinking sometimes has the aura of black magic. It's not. In fact, at its core is something every toddler does: building things, prototyping. And great prototyping is fast. Remember the funnel your team's filling with empathy? Well, by the time you're ready to prototype, you've already invested a lot of time and effort. You can't just build one prototype, watch it fail, and decide you didn't learn anything useful. You've got to build many prototypes and work as hard as you can to get something out of the bottom of that funnel. But you don't have an endless supply of money or time. So you need to make many prototypes per unit of time and per unit of money. That's why design thinking relies on rapid prototyping. Everyone on the team can rapid prototype. A web developer and a marketer can collaborate on a paper prototype of a website, or they can collaborate on a prototype of a new org structure with their other colleagues, or add a VC to the mix and they can prototype the financing structure for a business. Invite every part of your organization into rapid prototyping sessions. Each of those perspectives is another chance to learn. And with all those hands working quickly, there are more chances to try things. So you learn faster. Quickly compost your failures and course correct. Rapid prototypes are made of cheap material, so you can make many versions and learn what results a variety of approaches might yield. Or you can build prototypes to test different parts of the solution, like with a works-like prototype and a looks-like prototype. Rapid prototyping doesn't eliminate the need for a specific skill set, though. Experts get to take all the ideas and knowledge from the rapid prototyping sessions and apply them to the careful work they do as they build the market-ready website or draw up the financing papers. You worked so hard to fill your funnel at the top. Go fast, so you'll have a chance to try everything you can to generate value for the business. Let your whole team rapid prototype and build something great together.
Great.
So shall we start?
Yes, I think we should start. Perfect.
All right, so hello guys, and we are so happy today to be sharing the stage, if you want to say, like Riyadh for Social Innovation and NoBox Lab. We are collaborating together on this session, which is very important for your projects and their progress, and whether you're going to be also continuing in this program or not. So make sure that you listen attentively, that you participate. We have several exercises for you. And I would also like to ask you to rename yourselves into your team number and then your first name, because by the end of the session, we will be creating breakout rooms and each room will have one team. So for today, you will be working with your team members. So you have to be engaged and interactive with them, and you will be applying what we will be talking about in the first hour and a half. So without further ado, Walid has shown us one of the videos that we sent on Slack, and I have sent in the chat box as well. I'm going to send one more time, but please focus with us now on the screen. So I will share my screen and I will ask you to go to menti.com. You can do that from your mobile phones. I think it's always better to do it from a mobile phone, and enter the code that you can see on the screen. We will also write it in the chat box. So it's 74922. And start engaging with us. And so there will be a quiz as well. So we will see who's gonna be winning. I don't think there are points or grades on this. It's just like a nice competition to start the session with. So we expect all of you guys to be part of this. So we have around 60 participants. We need at least 50 of them to be on Menti if we exclude the facilitators and the organizers. So you need to be quick and to go to menti.com and use the code 74922 in order to get a chance to be one of the participants in the quiz. That will start in the next slide. And the very first question for you is just for us to have a certain idea on how well your progress is going. We want to check if you have started prototyping your solutions or not. It's not mandatory to have started them, but we just want to take an idea. So only 2 have said yes so far, and the rest have said no. Again, we need at least 50 participants. So kindly quickly join Menti, menti.com, and use the code 74922.
So I think the good part about it for the people who said yes, I think it's the opportunity to reshape your knowledge, and for the people who say no, it's the opportunity to learn more about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so now the quiz will start. Again, guys, we need the vast majority of you to be with us in Menti to benefit from this exercise. So kindly join menti.com and use the code 74922. And we will see who will be the winner at the end. All right, I'm gonna start. So if you answer fast, you'll get more points. And the first question is, prototyping stands for building the final product or creating a blueprint of the product. So which one of these is the true statement? All right, so 28 of you have answered correctly. As you could see in the videos, prototyping does not stand for building the final product, but it will make building the final product easier, and it will make the final product have more chances to succeed and to really meet the needs of the customer. If we directly build the final product and the customer doesn't like it, then we would have lost time and money for nothing. Whereas in prototyping, we do small, simple things that will help us know what we want to build at a later stage. So the second question, rapid prototyping should be done by, so also the video that Walid showed you talked about rapid prototyping. Who should do the rapid prototyping? Is it the startup team or an outsourced team of professionals? All right, so 31 of you have said that it's the startup team. Actually, at the very beginning, because you don't want to waste a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of energy, you cannot afford to directly outsource a team of professionals to do your rapid prototype. This is why usually the startup team, they have to do this rapid prototype. And this is why we are telling you this, because you have to feel comfortable enough that you have what it takes to do this rapid prototype, even if you are not professionals or technology experts. So third question, prototyping should be done perfectly well, even if it's expensive, or cost effectively and rapidly. I hope everybody will answer this correctly, because we sort of gave you the answer. All right, so definitely we do not, as entrepreneurial teams, we do not have a lot of money and time to spend on this prototype. This is why we have to build it in the most cost-effective and the fastest way possible. And this is everything that this session is about. You do prototyping as soon as possible, meaning that you should do prototyping even before you identify your users. Is this statement true or false? All right, so definitely it's false, simply because if I create a prototype and I don't know who my users are, I mean, what am I even doing? I have to know, I have to identify my users first, and then I build the prototype, but I have to do the whole process really quickly. And this is what design thinking tells you to do. And when you start testing your prototype, you will see if these are the right users or not. And you might keep on alternating and doing some changes to the users that you have identified. All right, so we're not done yet, but this is like just to see who is doing really well today. So Wanderer is first, and then we have Sabika and Omar.
Who's the wonder?
Congratulations.
We're not done yet.
Okay,
so
you're not done yet.
have a
Okay.
few questions.
Wow.
This is just to get you motivated even more. Prototyping is a part of the design thinking process. Is this true or false? So you spoke about design thinking at the early stages of the program. Do you think prototyping is a part of this process? Great. Yes, it is true. Prototyping can be done with the following tools: paper and cardboard, software design apps, wood and cheap metal, and all the above. Which one is correct? Yes, it's actually all of the above. So you can use whatever material you have, as long as they are cheap, they are easy to use, easy to handle. They do not need heavy machines or too much time or money to work with. Prototyping should take all the time it needs, even if it is a year or more, as minimal time as possible, or 6 months. Which one is correct? Okay, we do not want to give prototyping all the time it needs, because we have to do what we call rapid prototyping, similar to what we saw in the video. This is why we want to do as many prototypes as possible in as minimal time as possible. We have 2 more questions. So you have to choose which one is correct. Build only one good prototype. You need to build at least 5 prototypes, or you need to build as many prototypes as possible. And this question is for you and any other entrepreneur or innovator. How many prototypes do we need to build? We have to build as many prototypes as possible because it will be impossible to directly build the right product from the start. So if we just do one prototype, there is around 0% chance that this will be the best thing I can do. This is why I have to keep doing more and more. Yes, build at least 5 prototypes, but it might not be enough. So you have to build as many as needed. And the last question for today. We do rapid prototyping. Why? To test our solution, to enhance our prototyping skills, or to get creative and have fun. Why do you think we do rapid prototyping in entrepreneurship? Great, so the majority have got it correctly. To test our solution, because we want to test our solution as quickly as possible in order to minimize. Oh, we have to see who has won. I will share again.
Let's see the winner. And
The
the winner
winner
is ta ta ta ta ta.
So Wanderer, congratulations.
Congratulations.
And well done for all the others as well. Who's
I was
Wanderer?
wondering, who is the wonder?
It is me,
Why?
Team
Nice.
24, Abdullah.
Congrats, Abdullah.
Congratulations, Abdullah. Well done.
Thank you.
And now Walid will take over with some concepts and dwell further on some of the things that we saw in the questions.
I think what we can do now is wrap up and move to the to-dos because everything was said like in the Mentimeter. Great work, Mona, and I hope you all had a clear brief about like prototyping and what's prototyping and why we need to prototype. So what we will do now is we will try to move like on some slides to see more theoretical parts and definitions regarding prototyping and the steps. Then we're gonna have another practical activity with Riyada team where we're gonna discover like some scenarios and prototypes, and then we're gonna see tools and tutorials on how can we prototype like ASAP as soon as possible and with limited resources and from scratch. So yes, we will start like by see where are we now. So we've been in the human-centered design process. We've explored the empathy phase, the design phase, or we can say it as we say in human-centered design, the inspiration part. We've moved to the ideation. We still like to see so many solutions where we had like a fruitful word coffee activity, like with plenty of solutions. I think we had more than 200 solutions and ideas, like if the Gaxel can correct me. And now we are in the part where we can explore how can we choose our solution, how can we see them if they are feasible, if they are viable, and if they are also like desirable by our clients, by our customer, by our target audiences, and how can we do this fastly? Like, how can we do it with zero resources, like even with $0, €0, where we can start from, and what the tools that we can use. So first of all, like the implementation phase is about understanding how to give life to our product, to our solution, to our service, and how to bring it to the market, and also to keep in touch with our target and each time to collect their feedback and to have as much as we can of like interaction. And if we're talking about like doing this, what we will need to do is to make a very safe, easy experience. And that's why you will hear a lot from me and from Mona, and also especially tomorrow with the experts, like the name of UX or user experience. Because like when we start talking about the idea or we start talking about the prototype, we need to be clear about what makes an experience. For me, as the solution or the product or the service creator, and also for my target customer or beneficiaries, and how can I leverage that to create a powerful product? Because you can see that at so many times, you're using so many like similar apps, and then you see yourself like you are into one and not into the other one. And I can give you here a clear example is Snapchat and Instagram. Like just me, before I had like to use Snapchat for my daily stories. I've been like I felt myself comfortable to use it on my daily life. I used to snap more than 10 stories, and then when Instagram try to conquer like the market, they've tried to like give and deliver a better user experience. That's what like facilitates the merging of so many users to the other platform, and what caused damages to the first platform. And like if we're talking like even about the product or the service or the idea, we need to have like some clear parameters, like some clear basis on it. We can see that okay, what we're going to prioritize, or what we're going to favorite. So when we're talking about the product, we're having the function. Here we're talking about the features, the performance, the usability, etc. We're talking about the cost, like the manpower, the money, the efforts, etc. And then we're talking about the form. Clearly, is it desirable or not? So aesthetics and beauty. And in some schools or in some innovation schools, they say that innovation or innovative solutions are the interaction between the function, which is normally like the feasibility of the product, the form, which is the desirability, and the viability, the cost. And like we've been with the colleagues, SOG team and Mobox Lab team last week checking your solutions. We've seen so many great solutions. They had like the desirability part, they had like the feasibility part, but they've missed the viability. Like we hadn't like to see like the business model, or how you can make profit, or how you can just sustain the solution. So try always to see how you can have a clear interaction between, or intersection between the function, the form, and the cost. And why we will need to know the product parameters? Because we will need to see it because we see it from different point of views. Because if I'm the CEO or the corporate manager, I will try to prioritize like the form, like the desirability of the solution, then the cost. It should be profitable. And then I don't care about the function, because all what I need, it's like my solution should be appealing, and it should be like profitable for my company or from my like social initiative, etc. So that's like just to prove that everyone has different point of views. So we should try to see it from like all the different views and try to do the 360-degree view. If I'm here, we can say an engineer, I will care more about the function, how much it's gonna cost me, and I will care less about the form. Because like I'm an engineer, I'm a technical guy, etc. So all what I like need to check, or all what I need to prioritize, it's like the technical stuff, and also like the costs and the expenses to develop my solution. And now if I'm a designer, I don't care about the function, I don't care about the cost. I want to have the best user interface. I want to have the best design. I want to have like the most appealing like solution on the web, or like the best designed app ever. So here like the different point of view, but me as a founder, or we as a team that they try to solve a social issue or just an issue or a challenge, we need to try to find the balance between the three. We need to have like the function, the form, and the cost, and we will need to try each time to have like a good balance between them, and try to deliver like the best out of this intersection. So now if we're gonna like try to see how can we prioritize in our process of transforming our solution into a tangible thing, into a testable, like we can say object, into something real that can generate feedback from our customers or our users, we should first build something fast, as Mona said, cheap and quick. And that's why we're talking about rapid prototyping. I should have like results like in 2 days, 3 days. So I should deliver something that it costs me like just limited resources and limited expenses, And that can be provided to a user, to a niche, to a target, and they can give me feedback about the experience. And of course, it should solve the problem. Like if we're talking about people who are struggling with like the firewood and they don't have more wood to like, how can I say that, to surpass the cold in the winter season, etc., we should deliver a solution that solves their need. And it should be testable, and also it should be adaptable to their like asks and also to their situation. Because if they are like used to buy the normal firewood like for $0.1, I should deliver like a first prototype who can be a start of a solution who does not surpass this 0.1 or just more than this price. I will just check the conversation to see if there is questions. Okay, so I think like everything is clear till now, but please try to be like interactive as much as you can and try to ask your questions so I can each time answer them and like give you a clear image about the subject. Then like when we're talking about like solving the problem, we should have like a clear function. And here in the video shared by Mona before, like it said like either we are prototyping the whole product and giving it in, we can say that 1.0 form, or we're just prototyping one principal function that solves people's need or solve people challenges and problems. And of course, and if we want people to give us like a good feedback that they want to buy the product after, etc., it should be looking good, and here we should work on the form. So as it's mentioned here in the slide, in a startup environment, we don't have much money or time, and we're having this like every time we do in the facilitation session, like how we gonna do this? We need partners, we need funding, etc. But yes, you can do it, because even like me or Butena or Sophia or all, like I think that the partners here, they've started their projects with like zero or less than zero resources, and they've tried to prototype with what's available in our environment and with our network. So after this, like I love this quote from Porsche founder. It's called like, if you analyze the function of an object, its form often becomes obvious. And here, like why we are saying always like the user interface or like the design, it came like after the function or after the experience. When we're having a good experience, people are like giving us a good feedback that they are using the best solution that answer their needs. Each time I will talk about this, because it's the human-centered design, because the human is always in the center, and we try to design with it. Not design by ourselves and then propose, design with him the best solution. So then we're having like the best experience, like the form or like the design or like everything else regarding like the desirability, it's gonna come up after. And I think like just to have clear attention, because I've mentioned two technical words, they are user experience and user interface, and normally you will discover them more and more tomorrow with like tomorrow's guest speaker. So please try to be there, because it's an important session that can complete the knowledge from today's session. You should always try to differentiate between what's like related to the experience, like on how I should first of all open the app, how I can move or like open the product or like call a service to have it, etc., and how I can move on through the steps, and also differentiate it with the UI, which is more regarding the design, regarding like the way like icons are structured, etc. And here I will give you like a quick tip. Always in prototyping, we say fake it till you make it. You should try to, how can I say that, to sell to your customer or to your audience an idea about what they have in their hands, because you're trying to develop a 1.0 product or object for, or even like service, and you will need to generate feedback to improve it as much as you can. So that's why even like for prototyping, we call it the art of quick building for testing purposes. because the idea like behind prototyping is not just like build something based on Arduinos or some technical stuff, or just trying to have like an application that's gonna compete with Careem and that Careem or Uber, and that suggests a better experience by how you can reserve your taxi, etc. But the idea is that you can have something tangible that can be testable by 1 to 10 of your target audiences or more. It depends on the nature of your business, and they can give you honest and clean and clear feedback. And here I want just to make a point clearer. It's regarding with whom you will need like to try your prototype. First of all, we start with the 3S persons. 3S, it stands for family, friends, and fools. Family because they are the first ones who can trust our not trust. They want just to encourage us to deliver something good. Friends because they want to encourage us to start a project, etc. And fools because they don't know us. They don't have an idea about what we're providing, but they just they want to trust us and to see us doing something. So prototyping helps us to bring our solution to life quickly and to be able to have feedback from our target group and improve it continuously so we can deliver a clean and clear product. And here where we have the clear concept of iteration. And I think that Goxel and the whole SOGLAB team mentioned and like before that design thinking or human-centered design are based on iteration, are based on doing things and see if they are good, if something is wrong, and try to pivot or try to iterate to have like the best, either like how might we question or like the best persona based on your clients, and then advance having the best solution, why it's the best. If it's not working, you should pivot to other solutions, etc. And that's why we're having plenty of solutions and not one solution. So what we're going to do now, I will share with you a video from the Silicon Valley theory, where if you watch it before, you will know the Pied Paper platform and like their crazy founders, and we will see together why it's important to test your solution and to prototype it before delivering it to your client. So we'll see it now. I will just run the video. Perfect.
It's going great. They've been engaging with the platform for about an hour now. They're just starting the Q&A.
Oh, great. Thank you, everyone, for sharing your feelings on the revolution.
Just to verify, do you hear the sound from the video?
Yes, it's
Yes,
clear.
we can hear.
Perfect, perfect.
New Pied Piper.
It's going great. They've been engaging with the platform for about an hour now. They're just starting the Q&A.
Oh, great. Thank you, everyone, for sharing your feelings on the revolutionary new Pied Piper platform. Now, Bernice, you say here that you were totally freaked out by the platform. What specifically totally freaked you out?
Everything. Just every single thing about it. Just like how it worked.
Now, who else found themselves totally freaked out by this platform? Barry, Warren, Natalie, Martina, Gwen, Amy, Walker, and Clay. You were all totally freaked out. Was anyone not totally freaked out? Clark? Good. What was your reaction?
It just made me feel stupid. This file sync thing is confusing. When I put videos into my main folder, it says it uploaded them, but then I didn't see where they went. It said stuff was on my phone and my iPad, but when I looked at the memory, it said 0K used. So stuff wasn't on there.
That's the platform. He's describing the platform and what's great about it. Well, clearly he doesn't get it. Clearly none of these people get it. Maybe this is a bad group.
This is the 5th one today, and it's the least hostile reaction we've seen.
Okay, well, everyone that I showed the beta to loved it. Loved.
Oh, shit.
What?
Who did you give the beta to? Your friends? Engineers?
Well, yeah, Monica. I wanted to give it to people who would understand what I'm trying to do so I could get useful feedback. And with all due respect, I give it to you, the one person without a computing background, and you said it felt engineered. Oh, shit.
Yeah, you're trying to sell the platform to regular people, but you never actually put it in the hands of regular people. Like them.
I need your feedback. I think that the sound and the image was clear for you. So what's like the lesson from this video? We have like Rema said, it's pretty cool. Cool is nice, but I need like some feedback, more heavy sentences.
Can I say something?
Yes, of course, you can.
So when we are trying to develop a product, we want it to turn out as perfectly as possible. So obviously we will want to ask people who are in the field, people who can give us expert opinions. But sometimes we can concentrate on these expert opinions too much that we forget that regular people who are not, not everyone of the target group is going to be in that field. Actually, they are much more likely not to be in the field, and they're going to be using our product. So we need them to be able to understand the terms that are used, the process or the system to be easier for them to use with their background, with their information, with their education.
Yes, exactly, Rima. I think that's clear. Like when we are like developing the product, we always like found ourselves like asking the experts, like the people with the technical expertise, if like our service is good, if like the code, if we are developing an app or a website is good, etc. But we are not asking the users, because the engineer, in most of the times or most of the cases, it's not like the user. And here why we need like to develop and to test our prototypes as much as we can. That's why, like in the questions with Monet, you had like, there is no specific time, or like you cannot just deliver one prototype or 6 or 10 or 100. Like each time you will try to start from scratch, like from a 1.0 or a simple version, then you will do your best to improve it, and not by yourself, by hearing from the users, and not only the experts or the engineers. So I think that's like, as Kautar said, it's the importance of user experience in creating something. And like the user experience is not like, it's not selling by the engineer, it's selling by the user, because he's the one who's gonna experience like, or he's the one who's gonna live this experience. I think that the lesson is clear from this video. And here we are having from the repo, the feedback shouldn't only came from people in the field, like experts, but also, and most importantly, from the users. Yes, it's most importantly from the users. And like just after the slides, we will see like what the logical progression of developing the prototype, and what we will need to do first and what we will need to do after, just to try to have like the best version of the prototyping experience. So here I will just give you a clear like remark about like narrative complete products, because sometimes when we're trying to develop a prototype, we're trying to just develop in one component, and in our mind that if we develop each component separately, we are developing the prototype. But it's not the case, because if I want to move from point A to point B, I need to have a solution. It can be a car, it could be like a bicycle, it could be like a skate, etc. But I should came up with something that I can make fast and I can deliver fast to the client. And in this case, like what's not building the MVP or the prototype, it's like building each component separately. But what's exactly, or like the exact definition of building the solution, it's try to developing like less complex solution, and then try to evaluate with the feedback. And just because here you're seeing a new, how can I say that, appellation or a new name, minimum viable product. So minimum viable product, it stands for that my prototype. Normally, we use it in the business field or in the startup field. That my prototype or my first product should have like the minimum of its aspect with the principal function, and it should be viable. That it should have the potential to be sold to my clients. And this is like the exact definition of the minimum viable product. It should be the minimum version of my solution, and it should be a viable like version, a version that can be sold to my client and that can be tested. Because just I will give you a clear statement. Normally in your first tests, with your prototype, when you will give them to people for free, they will tell you that, yes, we like the experience, we like the journey, we like the app, we like your delivery solution, etc. And we're gonna buy it when you will implement it in the market. But when you do this, you will have 0 people beside you, or 0 people with 0 interest in your product. That's why it's important to have 2 testing levels in your prototyping and test phase. The first one is you can try to give people your product or your service to test it for free, just to generate feedback, and then try to solve a better looking version, but it's still a prototype, to see if people, they are willing to pay for it and they are willing to demand for more. And here where you can confirm that your business or solution, campaign, or whatever, in each form, it's good and it's validated by the market. And here that's what we call it, the market proof. You already had early customers who give you money to have your solution, and they want more, and they've recommended to other people. Is it clear till now? If it's not clear, I can repeat or I can clarify more. So Omar said it's clear, crystal, perfect. So here, it's just another statement. So the first example shows you're building towards something modularly in the separate models, but the other one, it said to show something that can be already used. And that's the real meaning of the prototype and why we will need a prototype. And also in the prototyping, you will have always 2 types of prototypes. You will have low fidelity prototypes and high fidelity prototypes. So who can tell me what or share with me an example of low fidelity prototype? So we're having 2 words, low and high, and fidelity. Who can share with me an example? I need some interaction. I need some humans with me here on Zoom. Okay, so what does fidelity mean? I think I can express it in a different way. Fidelity, it could be how I can catch or engage the users or the customer. So how I can do it in a low way and how I can do it in a high way. Then you will understand it with the examples. Yes?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, so I think low fidelity, that's what I understood, is, let's say, for example, you are prototyping an application. You can just maybe draw it or draw the menus and make it interactive without caring about design and the gradients, etc. So if you make it interactive by just drawing, you can test it very quickly.
Yes, exactly this, Omar. So you shared with us this example of if you are developing a website or a web solution or a mobile application, normally the low fidelity prototype, it's gonna be the solution with basic designs or just a sketch prototype or something that's not catch the customer in a more engaged way, but it make or it clarify what we are suggesting or what I providing. So here you can see that low fidelity, it's either focusing on what's important for the first interaction or versus focusing in the branding, colors, and fonts. And here I can give you even an example with Careem solution or Uber solution. So if we're talking about the high fidelity of Careem and Uber solution, it should be the app, with the map inside of it, etc., and the button to call or to receive calls from the pilot or the drivers. And if we are talking about the low fidelity solution for Careem and Uber, it could be just a WhatsApp group where you can have number of people or drivers in some specific areas, and if you want to reserve your ride, you will just check one of them and call it and see with him if he's near of you or she is near of you or not. So just keep in mind these 2 approaches regarding low fidelity and high fidelity. And here you can see a clear example. So low fidelity is in the left of the screen, and the high fidelity it's like in the right of the screen. So fidelity means the number of details in the prototype. The closer a prototype resembles to the final design or to the final product in terms of its appearance and functionality, the higher its level. So when we are like approaching our final product, like result or solution, then we are like talking about a high fidelity solution. So I think here I have some feedback from people in the discussion. So thanks for all the participants who used it till now, because it enhances our like interaction and like the way we can provide you with the best knowledge. So here like focus more on function and cost, not so much on form and design. This is the low fidelity part. And also I think low fidelity prototypes are mostly paper based. Sometimes they are more than just paper. We will see like more example in the next hour. So just like now to explain the logical progression, because we're talking about like doing prototype too many times, but it's good to see like this progression clear and well designed, so we can imagine it and so we can structure our minds when we are building our prototypes. So like always we're starting from idea, like before from a challenge, then we're having the persons or the people or the audience who suffer from this challenge. We will try to tackle a specific and very like framed like problem, and then we will brainstorm a lot of ideas and we will choose each idea, like we'll try to prioritize them regarding like how people interact with just hearing these ideas or our solution in the first site. And then we will move to the storyboard. I will show you after what's the storyboard, paper prototype, digital prototype if it's a digital solution, and then arrive to the finished product. So normally through prototyping, you can incrementally build and design on your product while saving effort and costs. Because as Mona said before, if you want to skip the prototyping, you will develop the solution inside the company or inside the startup or the initiative. And when you will like deliver it to your final customer, he will not like it, or he will say that, so sorry, I don't see like the need to have this solution. You will not have a clear idea about where is the problem, where is the struggle. So you will need to start again from scratch. You will lose your money, you will lose the interest of your team, the interest of you even to work on the project. That's why it's very, very important to have feedback in each step, feedback in each prototype version, so we can always shape it in the best way adapted to your customer and to your users. And for sure, like our expectations is that we're gonna start with the idea. After having the idea, it's good. We will have just 1 hour to design or to sketch the storyboard. Then we will have another 1 hour to have the paper prototype, etc. And this is sadly just in our dreams, because a human-centered design, it's not linear. Design thinking is not linear, and even prototyping is not something linear. So this is the reality. We will have one idea, then we will need to switch to another one that fits or that answer directly our need. We will move to the first prototype. We will try it in different ways. It's gonna work, it's not gonna work. We're gonna pivot. So just remember this word, pivot, and like try to iterate to another prototype, etc. Then after we will have, or we will arrive to the final product, and that's what's gonna happen. Like probably in your experience, you will have different paths, not just a linear like line, and that's what will make you not just having a good product, but having a great entrepreneurial or just a great innovator journey. So try to embrace each part of the journey and do it like in the best way and in the best form. I will check. Okay, so I have a question from Monia, who said that I don't have like clear the fidelity or high fidelity concept. So yes, no problem, I can explain again. So the low fidelity is the first prototype like with the basic needs. It could be just the function and it answers the costs, or with limited costs or with limited resources. The high fidelity prototype is the prototype that it's like resemble a lot to the final product. It's good appealing, with a good form, with a good design, with a good user experience and user interface. Is it clear, Monia? I can read back just to show you the slide, because I believe that always images are the best way to explain things, visuals in general. You see, in the left of the screen here, this is the low fidelity version of a website, like or just like for like the pricing part of a website. And in the right of my screen, you can see the high fidelity part. I see some raised hands here. Okay. Yes, it could be a sketch, it could be a paper prototype, it could be a mock-up. We will see images to make things clearer, so don't worry. Exactly, we'll show things how they will work, and if you click on this button normally this will happen, etc. And we will see it after. Okay, perfect. Okay, Team 16, Tikan.
Yeah, sure. A quick question. Is it advisable to have a moderate test after a high prototype must have been done, or the final product?
I didn't get your question. Can you repeat, please?
Okay. Is it good to have a moderate test after the finished product must have been accomplished, or a high field product must have been done?
Yes, I think here, like, it's good to have like tests in after each, like I can think after each step, like after the sketch prototype, after even like having the final product, to see if you need to adjust some functions or something in design, etc. So testing, it should be after each version of your solution.
Okay, thanks very much.
Always.
Yeah.
This is the best way to optimize time, because if you don't do so, you will lose a lot of time by the end. When people, they will say to your solution, sorry, we don't want like the solution because it doesn't like, or it didn't answer our need while we are testing it, etc. And here what we will do now, we will just see another quick video, 1-minute video from the same series, Silicon Valley series. And to have now a clear vision about like what happens when you skip all the steps, and what you will suffer from. It's the best way like to illustrate our discussion now.
For the last 90 minutes, you've had an opportunity to explore a standard Huli phone upgraded with a brand new operating system called Nucleus. Thank you all for being here. Alan, Lisa, Josh, Yana, Katie, Ramon. Now I'd like to get everyone's first impressions. Who'd like to jump in? Anyone? How about you, Ramon?
It's just stupid.
Okay, so Ramon feels the phone is stupid. Could you elaborate, Ramon? How? Please, be as specific as possible, Ramon.
Well, it's slow.
Do you hear the sound?
The apps keep...
Test. Do you hear the sound? Is it clear? Okay,
yeah,
perfect.
Sure. It's
perfect.
Quitting on me. I tried to watch a movie and it kept freezing up. And when I'm typing, like, there's a delay. Then all the letters pop up at once. You took a good phone and you made it all, like, shitty.
Keep in mind, I didn't design the phone.
It pissed me off.
I appreciate your honesty, Ramon.
Well, that's just one guy's opinion.
Who else feels this product is stupid? Alan, Lisa, Josh, Yana, Katie. And did it piss off anyone else? Alan, Lisa, Josh, Yana, Katie.
Christina, how bad is this? Be honest. Is this Windows Vista bad? It's not iPhone 4 bad, is it? Fuck. Don't tell me this is Zune bad.
I'm sorry, Gavin. It's Apple Maps bad.
And who else felt this product is messed up? Alan, Lisa, Josh, Yana. Sorry for the disturbance, Alan, Lisa.
I will need to activate my mic. I think that the idea is clear. Sometimes, or like in like 100% of the cases of or the scenarios when you will skip like having or generating or receiving feedback from your users in early stage, you will have this kind of feedback after delivering the final and first and like the final product, after investing tons of money, after receiving tons of funds. And even now, I don't think that there is no more organizations or like, how can I say that, funders, investors who believe in just ideas. You need to deliver something tangible and from scratch. And when they see that from like simple resources, from basic resources, you developed something outstanding, trust me, they will try to stick with your solution, and they will try to be part of the initiative, or try to be part of this journey, because it's not just delivering a simple solution, but it's a journey to empower and to like try to keep an impact on people's lives. I think now I will give you just another 5 slides before moving to a practical activity where you will need to see this like in the tangible way. So I will just give you some tricks and tips on how you can prototype. Always there is this famous, how can I say that, how can I say trick, we called it the crazy 8. Is you try to fold a piece of paper into half, then fold it into half, then half again. And the idea is to have 8 boxes, and in each box you will need to try to design one of the function or the idea behind your product. And the idea is to design like this like deliverable in 5 minutes. So you will need to spend just 40 seconds in each box, and you will have a clear like images or visuals like this that can show just a basic view of your solution. And it could be for digital solution and also for offline solutions. So each example I will give it, I will just try to give it with the digital like examples, just to have it like, because we know that digital, it costs a lot if you want to develop the product directly, but because like just offline solutions, we can make them like very easily and with really the available raw materials and like all the needed things in our environment. After this, we have the storyboard. So storyboard, it's like you're writing the script for an episode, for a film, for a series, etc. And here you will need to write a storyboard of what you will expect from your user to do with your solution. So first of all, how he will interact with it in the first time, then how he will, or what the questions that he will ask himself, or what the questions that she can like ask to see how she can use the solution, then how she will interact with it, etc., and with each function till the end. And normally each time we're trying to use the 8 boxes because it's a simple way to do it, and even for the visuality, it looks good and appealing for like either users or like your team members. For the paper prototyping, here is like one of the best like visuals that can explain it. You can have like papers that look like the phone and the mock-up of like the phone of your choice. You can choose the iPhone or whatever you want, and you can just design it with like basic materials like hard paper, etc. And then you will try to design sketch, or even sketch it like on your computer, on your tablet, or just on papers. You will sketch each image or each like we can say each window, etc. And you will imagine how it should look like, etc. And here, like you can have a tool like this, you can design it just from plastic to have good appealing like design. And now we are like adding UI, the user interface, and the good looking on the user experience. So we can do it also like based on really based things. And just keep in mind that all what you need each time it's validation. You've made your first set of prototype, and now it's time to test them out. And just to, I will give you a quick knowledge. When you want to test your prototype, you will need to keep in mind, are you solving your customer's problem? You need to ask yourself this question. Are you making it easy for them? for her or for him? Are you making it enjoyable? Is it an enjoyable experience? Do they want to have or the desire to have your solution or your prototype or not? And also the questions that you can ask people so they can give you honest and credible feedback. Does my app, website, solution, service, product do what you thought it does? Do you understand the flow of information? And here, the best question to ask, so you can have a clear answer regarding your user experience. And do you find it easy to use? And then of course, we're gonna have some questions to avoid. What do you want, or what do you want the product to do? It's an open question. They will just keep telling you and telling you and telling you, and you can catch any important idea. And do you like this? Because if you say to people, do you like this? They want to be nice to you and they will say yes. Or they will say no, and you will not have clear vision about what's the issue. So please try to ask specific questions. You can start with open questions just to make, how can say, the confidence, to make the customer more confident, etc., to exchange and to interact with you. But after, just to be more specific as you can and try to ask specific questions without yes or no answers. I will say yes. Also, anonymous feedback is a good way to have comfortable and people answering honestly. But always, I love to do some human to human things, to have some live interviews, live interaction, because you will need to see their faces, their face expressions, their emotions, where they struggle exactly, etc. But it's always to start in some points, and sometimes to start with forms, then you move to physical things, etc. And the most important thing, also avoid, if you like my app, right? It's like a maiden statement that they like your app, and isn't this feature helping you become better at your job? So try to avoid all the statements that lead to your satisfaction and not the user satisfaction. But more importantly, observe them. Sometimes you will find hidden problems that you didn't realize before. Watch their facial expression, as I said before. Listen to how they talk. Try to understand their feelings, their accents, their actions, and everything related to the experience. And to do this, you will need to move. You cannot do it just from your seats. I know it's Corona, so we will do things differently. I will give you some tips after the practical activity, but move, because sitting is killing you. And entrepreneurship, social innovation, it's about doing concrete things, doing concrete initiatives, and try to have concrete and tangible impact. Now I think I can move to Riyada again with Mona. Mona, are you with me?
Yes.
And before, if you have any questions, you can ask them.
So I believe, Walid, we will be just applying everything you've said now in a small exercise here in the main room. Before you continue, and then at the end we will have a breakout room exercise. But guys, please, I still have some people who did not rename themselves, so I need you, all of you, to add your team name, preferably at the very beginning of your name, because when you want to create the breakout rooms, I mean, if you don't have a team number, I just stay in the main room and we know that you're not here. You're here by name, but you're not here in reality. So kindly rename yourselves. And this is the last time we ask you to do that. Thank you so much. And now I will share back my screen, and I will be asking you several questions, and I will be expecting your answers here on the main room. Again, you can use chat, but you can also speak up, but we would love to hear your voice. So just a second. All right, so I'm gonna give you some examples of prototyping, and then we will brainstorm, and then I'll show you a picture of what could be a possible rapid prototype for that. All right. Okay, so the first thing, let's assume that you want to create a mobile application. To simplify it, it's something that looks like Instagram. I mean, if you have read the story of Instagram, before they had stories and now like e-commerce on Insta and like so many other features. They just had really one feature, which is the photo posting. Like you just post a photo, you have friends that you follow, and you can see the photos and maybe comment, and like even commenting and liking maybe was like at a later stage. So how would you do it? How would you create a prototype for such a mobile application? So I'm going to ask you a few questions. Would you directly go and talk with the, a software or a mobile application company that you have heard, or that you have heard they deliver high quality apps? Yes or no? Would you do that? Would you directly go and ask a mobile app development company, like how much would this cost? What would it take for me to build this, etc.? No. Okay, so I have some no's. Okay, talk to the target. Who are my target? Okay, so surveys are like one step or like a few steps before the prototyping. So we're assuming that we have done that. We assume that we have done that. And now we want to do some kind of rapid prototyping. What can I do? So based on Walid's examples and tips and tricks, what would you do? Beta what, Fatima? All right, so I need like a concrete example. What would you do to prototype this app? What would you do? Tell me, like now if I put you in a breakout room and I tell you, I want you now in 10 minutes to prototype this app, what would you do? Yes, Rima?
Well, first of all, I think I would think about the type of experience I want the users to have. So if I want the users to be able to comment on each other's posts, then I would make a storyboard that shows that happening. If I don't want the users to be able to interact with each other and only have access to watch Maslan content and not interact with each other, only with the facilitators or like the organizers of the page. So I guess I would think of what I want to happen, and then based on my decision, I would have the questions that I need to ask.
Okay, great. So again, we're assuming here that you have all of these questions already sorted out. You have done some surveys, you have done some interviews, maybe you've done like some design thinking steps already. So you have these, like in this case, you can just put some assumptions, of course, because you haven't done it in reality. But for your project, I assume you have been doing that. So now you said, I want to create either a storyboard. Someone here in the chat said, I'm gonna imagine this, how it gonna look like, and I start to draw it. Yes. Do you know how do we draw apps? So John, you have your hand raised.
Hello everyone. I hope you all are fine. So what I will do, like for example, if I want to create an app like Instagram or Facebook, firstly, you have already told that we are done with service. I'll go with the costing. Then I'll see that how I can hire a person who can develop this app. For example, I will do some market analysis.
But how would you, John, excuse me, I need to interrupt you there. How would you do a costing if you don't know how it would look like?
For that, I need a paper prototype.
Exactly. This is what I want to hear. Okay,
Yes.
so before I do costing, I have to prototype it first, and then I will, after I have like some decent prototype, I can go and ask for costing. But you cannot do costing before having some rapid prototype.
Or before the costing, we have to make a kind of a mind map or something like that, in which we create the theme, we create a journal or themes of the or journal icons of the application, what will the features, and then we'll do costing, and after that we'll hire or give this task to a software agency who can make this stuff happen.
Okay. And yeah, I mean, you've got it all right, but just to like comment on the software agency thing, this is like at many times, it's like a trap that entrepreneurs fall into. When you outsource your application, things are like much more prone to go wrong, things to get delayed. So it's way better if you actually recruit somebody who knows how to develop an app rather than outsource it completely. And I have seen this happen so many times, and it has failed every single time, except if the app is something that is minor. So in the Instagram case, it's not minor, it is the business itself. So I cannot outsource my business to someone else. But if the app is something minor to the business, it's just like an interface that helps maybe in the customer service, yes, I can outsource it. But if my whole business is on the app, how can I outsource my business? It just doesn't make sense. Okay, so yes, you can partner, hire a CTO who is a co-founder, exactly. Great, so I'm gonna show you one possible picture of how you can prototype an app. So this is what we call wireframing. So exactly the same thing we can start with on just a piece of paper. All right, so I just like, and I have done this with my students many times, like I tell them, take your phone and just like draw the boundary of the phone on a piece of paper, like draw 3, for example, phones on the paper, and start filling it in. Okay, what's gonna be the very first page? What's gonna be the second page? What are the buttons? If you press this button, where does it take you? And this is what Walid was referring to as a low fidelity prototype, because if you take these papers and you press on the buttons, nothing will really happen, right? So you can like assume that it's happening, but in reality it doesn't. Whereas if you go to a mobile app design software, or like this one, for example, is called iOS app design, there is Marvel app, and the other tools that Walid will talk about shortly, you can actually have what we call a reactive prototype. So still there is no back end, no coding, nothing. But if you see it on your phone, you can interact with it as if it's a real app, although it's still not a real app. So it still doesn't work. There is no coding in the back end. However, the interface is already there. And this is where you can start seeing if the user experience is good or not, and testing it with your target customers and seeing, are they enjoying it? Do they know how to move from one page to the other? Can they really reach where you want them to reach, and all of that? Okay, so this is a simple way to do prototyping. And by the way, many apps that you can use online are free. All right, so you do not have to pay money to do this kind of prototyping, and definitely start with the paper first. So for today, if any one of you is doing a mobile application, I want you with your team to draw on paper, how would the wireframes or the different pages of the app, how would they look like? All right, let's do a second one. How do you prototype a hardware solution? Let's say I'm creating a new thermostat. Okay, a new thermostat. So now with COVID, we want to take our temperature. I want to create something new. And it has electronics, of course, right? Like it has some sensors, it has some LEDs, etc. How do I do it? Do you think I have the time and the money to directly start production in China, overseas, or like to build a power plant, you know, a manufacturing plant to do that? How can I do it in a simple way to double check if this would work, if it is efficient, if it is effective? How do I do that? Kauthar?
Yes. There is the low fidelity and the high one. For the low, I think we can, for example, we are creating circuits, printed PCBs, printed circuits boards. We just use the theory and we draw them on papers. But I don't recommend this, because we have in the field, we have some simulation programs. We can use these simulation programs with all the devices, and we see if we put this device here, if it works. If we test it in the simulation program, but some of these simulation programs are a bit expensive, and mastering them may take time.
Great. Okay, so let's start with the low fidelity one then. Does anybody have anything to add to what Kauthar said? So this is really great. Of course, you're going to start locally. You're going to buy some cheap components, a piece of electronic components from the electronics shop in your city, etc. And it would actually look something like this. So does this look like a thermostat? Does it? It doesn't, but it could be. I honestly don't know what's there, but it could be, right? So I want to check the functionality. I want to check its performance. I want to check it's effective. I'm not gonna like directly start producing a thermometer before I'm sure that it works well, okay, for the needs that I am talking about. Okay, so this is what we call definitely a low fidelity prototype, but honestly, these are the products or the prototypes that usually win some competitions. You just need to have a prototype to prove that your idea works, your concept works, and this is how you should start. You do not afford to start in a different way. All right, definitely you do not have to reinvent the wheel. And let's say I want to ask for some help to, okay, so I did this, the functionality is here, all right, but I want somebody to design how it's gonna look like. I can maybe seek assistance, or if you can't like learn the software, the simulation software, maybe ask a consultant to do it, or I don't know, some friends or whatever. But also because, I mean, here you can only test the functionality. You cannot test like the aesthetics, you cannot test how people would like it and so on. Yes, you can. Somebody is saying I can do 3D printing, definitely. So I can have two prototypes. One is just how it's gonna look like, so 3D printed maybe, okay. And the other one is just how it's gonna function, which is this one, okay, that we have on the screen. So, and this is completely fine. At the very beginning, you do not have everything to be integrated into one small piece, okay? Because nobody expects you to directly jump to that phase. It takes time, money, it takes faith, it takes, yeah, so people to believe in you, etc. So until you reach there, you have to have these prototypes at the beginning. Otherwise, nobody will believe in you. Your team won't be able to grow, investors won't be able to pitch money, even your like friends and fools won't be giving you any money at the beginning, unless you show them something that, oh, like I have this great idea and I tested it and see, this is what it does, this is how it's going to be different, and this is the 3D printing of it, etc. All right, so this is super important. So now let's assume that I want to create a new marketplace. Okay, so now I'm sure like some of you might be thinking of some marketplaces. So I'm connecting X and Y to X is looking for, I don't know, bags, and Y sells bags. So let us connect them together and let them, you know, purchase from each other. So Christelle, just to answer you, startup team should have different specializations. Definitely diversity is very important. But again, I would say that the startup team should always be willing to learn new things, to have an open mind. Like, for example, it's anybody, you don't have to be a software engineer to go and learn how to create, like, again, a non-functional prototype on one of the tools that Walid will talk about in a bit. Like, anybody can do it. You just need to know how to use like a computer and the internet, etc. You do not need to be a software engineer. So you have to be willing to learn things, the easy things, of course, and you have to be willing to do a lot. I mean, even if it's not particular to your specialization. All right. For example, I'm an engineer, okay, and I'm a business person, but I do a lot of sales. I do a lot of administration work in my business in Riyadh. Okay, I sometimes have to do the WhatsApp responding to people. Like, you have to be willing to do so many things other than what you are the best at or what you would like to do. So you have to keep this open mind and really agile way of working. So how do we prototype a new marketplace, guys? Also, like, do I directly go and create a web app and directly secure my e-commerce shops that will be with me on the platform, and do this whole development thing, hire developers, start paying them money, or can I start it in a different way?
Can I answer the question?
Yes, please.
Yeah, you can have a WhatsApp group having the members which are kind of very frequently coming to your office for services. Maybe you can definitely try to categorize the WhatsApp group into WhatsApp 1, WhatsApp 2, WhatsApp 3, depending on their needs and the number of people because I know WhatsApp has a particular number of people and not more than 250. So that's what I think. The prototyping can be done through marketing, like probably on WhatsApp.
Okay, so Tekang, this is a very good start. So you're saying, okay, I know that a lot of people use WhatsApp nowadays, and actually a lot of people don't just use it for texting, but they use it for other things like knowing what the products are in, what's trendy to buy, like because a lot of shops now also they would have a WhatsApp number that you can order from, etc. So why do I have directly to go like the extra mile and develop this whole thing and pay money and maybe have a risk of not having users when I can test it early on using WhatsApp? This is amazing. Okay, so yes, I can do that. What else? I can maybe create a Facebook page. Okay, and now, for example, you have, of course, probably you've heard of it, Instagram, they have like some e-commerce features. All right, so simply you can create an Instagram page, which is like at zero cost, and like a lot of people are already on Instagram, so you do not have to do a lot of marketing. You do not have to pay a lot of marketing or hire a marketing expert or so on. And you start seeing, okay, do they like this? Are they interacting well with it? How many interactions am I getting? Interests? So you can simply use something that already exists. Okay, so I can start with Instagram, and with time I can move and create the actual marketplace that I want. Okay, but this is definitely a very good way to test my solution, to test that it answers the need of the customers, that they like the products, and that it could be a viable solution. All right. Small fees if you have them, but at the beginning I know that a lot of you don't have any like money to start with, so you have to resort to what we call the free applications, the free tools. All right, so it's also always important to take advantage of what already exists. So we do not want to reinvent the wheel. Someone of you wrote that on the chat box, and this is super important. Always remember it. We do not have to reinvent the wheel. Actually, it's very wrong to do that. All right, so if Facebook has some e-commerce features, I use that. And if I know that my customers are on Facebook, if Instagram has some of these features and I know my customers are on Instagram, I use that to start with. And later on, I can launch my actual marketplace when I know that I have enough data, etc. And I have one last. Okay, so Christelle, you're asking, do we have to create an Instagram page, for example, to collect clients before launching our app? It depends on your actual solution. So I'll give you an example. I was judging a few weeks ago, and like the entrepreneurs are creating dolls for kids. And for me, it was weird. And she said like she could show us the actual products. So they are way beyond prototyping. They are like finishing this whole prototyping thing. They are almost ready to start selling. And I was checking directly like on Instagram, on the internet, they had zero digital presence. And I told her like, how come you don't have any digital presence? I mean, because the product she was talking about, a lot of moms would want. And definitely, since she already had all the simulations, all the photos that she wants, all the product designs, they're ready. Like, what is she waiting for? She has, of course, to start putting them out there because you want to test the reaction of the potential clients. Do they want to order? And maybe she can even say pre-order now, right? It's not just about how many followers, how many likers, how many pre-orders will she have? Because this is a key indicator of whether this is something that will work or not. So I was like very amazed, like how come you don't have any Insta presence, no website even? This is definitely wrong. You cannot not wait until you start selling to have these. You have to have them earlier on. All right, great. So how do you test the aesthetics of a new product? So again, let's go back to the thermometer example. I'm creating a thermometer. I showed you the electronics board that I created, the circuit, like, okay, it works, but it doesn't look anything like my thermometer. You said that we can 3D print, but before we 3D print, what should we do? how can I, like before I 3D print, I have to come up with the digital drawing, yes, exactly, shape, color, simulation, etc. And here is where the simulation software comes into play. And again, these are, I agree, I think one of your friends, she mentioned that these softwares might not be easy to learn. So this is different. Yes, it does need some expertise or specialization. You might not, anybody can go and do this, but here's where you can resort to some experts, okay? And usually they will not charge a lot. Like if you say, I have this drawing and you have it already drawn by hand with all the specs, I just want you to create a 3D model for it. This will not be a lot of cost. It will be very little cost that you might be willing to invest in order to have this simulation. Because of course, if I have something like this, it's much better than just talking about it or just showing the functionality with a very bulky wooden and you know, something that looks nothing like the reality. So you need both, okay? So definitely you can make use of simulation software. And again, if you need experts to help you here, it's fine, but it's only this service, like it's just the simulation of this design, which you should have thought about before, drawn on paper, have labeled every single thing and how it works, etc., etc. All right, amazing. So that's it for me. And I would say that now we'll go back to Elliot.
Perfect, Mona. Thank you so much for the clear explanation, and thanks to all the participants for the interaction, with all the questions, etc. So what we will see now, we will try to see more in depth those tools and tutorials on how we can use them, so we can equip you with all the needed tools and knowledge to succeed in the prototype phase this week. I will just share my slide again. So I think you see me and hear me well. Perfect. So just like before, moving to the prototyping tools and tutorials, just remember during the COVID-19, I know that there is restriction of moving, of going and traveling to see or interact with your customers, target group, etc. But hopefully, or not hopefully, but we are blessed to have innovators that created so many solutions and tools to use. So here we have tools to know more digitally our customers and our users and our beneficiaries. So we have we can watch interviews on YouTube and all different channels, etc. We can share surveys on Google Form, type form on different platforms. We can read research and articles. It could be scientific, it could be from press and media, and also we can conduct online interviews and keeping this physical and the human to human part where we can see people, we can see their feelings, we can see their interactions, etc. Either by having focus groups, group with limited people and with an animator, or with just having a one-to-one interviews. And here we can use Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, Zoom, Facebook, WhatsApp. We have plenty of tools. Also to have feedback from our clients and users. We have some amazing tools to use, and the tools that we use each day, even for me and for all our teams, what we do if we want to launch a new project or if we want to test social media engagement, etc. We try to use our own profiles. So here you can use Instagram, Facebook, Slack, and all the existing tools with tools. You can, for the feedback, again, use Google Form, type form. For the phone calls, for sure, you can use either the normal service or the phones or the phone calls made on WhatsApp and on all other applications and platforms. And also you can do a live chat sessions when you can generate the needed feedback on Zoom, Facebook, and other platforms. So just keep in mind that there is too many tools that you can use so you can get closer to your target group and where you can generate feedback. Just try to be smart and efficient in your work and try to use them well. Now we will move to the prototyping tools. I will each time share with you a video about like one of the prototyping types and tools, and you will see how it's not just easy, but how it's doable to prototype even like some complicated solutions. So here I will show you a quick video where you can see an Apple Watch paper edition or Apple Watch paper prototype. Normally we call it a prototype. So I will share it with you, and I will try to, excuse me, I will just close the ad, close more videos, and try to accelerate the video here. Playback speed, we will watch it on 1.5. Okay.
Hi, humanity.
So what do you think now? Is it complicated to prototype any complex solution, like mainly to develop a paper prototype? I need to have your feedback, all of you, on the conversation. So if it's yes, say yes. If it's no, say no. Okay, I don't know why I struggle to see the conversation. Simple yet complicated, of course, because you gotta edit, not just draw. It looks so simple from the video. Yes, yes, exactly. Because the idea, like from this video, it's to show you just the principles of how you can like make the paper prototype. But here they are using video motion. How can I say that tool? Or a video motion way to show you this in a more dynamic and in a more interactive way. And it could be like as a demo of your product when you want to present it to your stop motion. Thank you so much. Stop motion, Omar. When you want to like to show it to the investors or to the partners, etc., or even in a competition, or to enter an incubation or acceleration program. So like paper prototyping, it could be like this. It could be like by sketching. It could be like mock-up. If I want to design a bag or a wallet, I should try to design it then and try to create a design with just papers and pens, using colors, etc. So just to be as much as creative to deliver like the best prototype that can generate like the exact or the needed feedback. Also, like for the prototyping, we can prototype them in a digital way, and here having a reactive like solution without doing code, without having the final version. And Mona shared with you before.
Okay, let's find out how to make a prototype of an app. When you've logged in, you need to create a project and give it a title. In this example, it's called My Tech.
So here, like in this tutorial, after we will share with you like the presentation, you will see that it's not complicated. You will not need any like design or coding knowledge to just imagine and build the first version of your app and how you want to have this experience, etc. There is a plenty of tutorials on YouTube for free on how you can build so many like experiences or so many buttons. So we will need just to try to get, or just to try to have a large comfort zone where you will see what's existing in other platforms, etc. I will just try to accelerate the video so we can see the results. Is just like trying to build each page, and after he will try to do some links between each page. When you click on this button, normally I supposed to see the other one like this, and it's a free platform. This is now an active solution without one line of coding, but it's made just for prototype and to give people to try the experience. So there is so many other apps like Marvel. I will show them to you, share them with you after. Also, like for rapid prototyping, if you want to print something on 3D printer, you can do it way before, or like you want to design a product and you can afford the money to produce it, you can do it way before on one of the 3D programs. There is for online programming, the best one is Victory, but like for offline design, you can use Katia, you can use SolidWorks, you can use also Cinema 4D. So there is plenty of tools to do 3D, and again, they don't recommend, they don't need or demand any advanced knowledge. You will need just to be patient and try to watch like some basic tutorials when you will be equipped with like the basic knowledge to surf on like to use this platform. So here is just an example of how you can design a bag on Victory. It's you will have all the needed steps, so how you can use the app. It's just online. You will not need to like download it or anything. And yes, here you have like all the needed steps. Perfect. And then we are talking about tools. We can also prototype an experience using Lego Serious Play. And I think if we're having with us Dr. Evren, he will be a big fan of this part because he's delivering some amazing workshops on how you can use Lego Serious tools and packs to solve some social issues and social challenges. And you will have like also plenty of videos on how you can build a city, build an experience based just on Legos. You will have like the paper sketches, what we call it like the first or the prototype 1.0. You can use just papers and pens, and also a paper mock-up. So here you can see the design of the bag, like with all the functionalities with just paper. So it's a paper mock-up. It's a real 3D paper or hard paper design that can be tested by your users, and they can say to you, okay, we want this here, we want like to close our bag in this way, etc. And here you can see what you can improve and what you can and what you will keep. Also for the tools regarding the digital solutions, now we are not talking about the offline solutions. Before you've seen the offline solution. So we have InVision, we have Figma, we have Wix, we have Marvel Apps, Sketch, Adobe XD. Like they do like the same work. You should just see which one you are like more comfortable in using it. Also, you can use PPT, Keynote, and other solutions to present your solution and to create some illustration or storyboard to make it clear to your customer and to your partners or to the potential investors, etc. For the hardware or for the hard products or the technical products, you can use 3D printers and CNC. We can say it's like the intelligent cutting machine. You can use for processes like Arduino, Raspberry, and PCB. They are affordable components available everywhere. And if they are not available, you can just command them using AliExpress or any other shipping platform. So I will give you an example. I'll just command an Arduino, how can I say that, complete pack with just $40, I think, and I can build with it two mini technical like solution. Also, the same Raspberry, it costs $50, and PCB, it costs less, and you need just to buy the small components so you can build your system. Also, we have the Lego Mindstorm and the Spike Prime packs. Here you can have like some already built components that you can build together and deliver a better solution, and they cost $400. They are all like mainly made for kids, for education, and how they can use to code using basic products, and like how they can know to create robots. But it's also affordable for any normally team with just basic funding from an institution or any partner. And also there is we have all the tools needed for the virtual and augmented reality. You know, now if you are doing an architectural project, you can do some virtual visits with just the Google normally glasses for the VR made of cartons. They cost only $4, and you will have like plenty of other solutions for the virtual and augmented reality or mixed reality. And also, like when we are talking about innovation and creativity, I think we all need a dose of inspiration and a push to see that we can create things differently, and we can do things in a different way and from different perspectives. That's why I thought to me and the NoBox Lab team to share with you some inspirational platforms when you can be inspired by UX and UI examples, and also by too many images that can help you shape your solution. So you will have behind it's like my first choice for design and like UI interfaces. You will have Board of Innovation. It's for me, it's the best place to enhance your innovation or your innovative mindset on the web. You will have tools, you will have guides, you will have examples, articles about plenty of things regarding innovation and how you can create a viable business model, and also how you can build a strong product or service. You have Pinterest for images, Inspiration Dribble for UI, Nice UI Movement Award, and also there is UX Movement. So please try just after this session to check the slide. Normally we will share it with you after the session, and try to go and to surf and to discover all these inspirational platforms. I think that's it. Like from our side, it was mainly for us to introduce you to the prototyping, to know what is the definition, where it's positioned regarding or into the human-centered design approach, why we need to prototype, how can we prototype, what's like the wrong question to avoid when we are asking like the first testers or the first user, what the questions that we can ask, what the kind of tools that are like available for free and that you can be equipped for to prototype your solution. So I think you have all the needed knowledge and tools. And now I will give the floor to my colleague Mona Itani, so she can before closing, because we will have the to-dos from the SOG Lab team. We will do a practical activity with her to experiment all this knowledge. Mona, the floor is yours. Over to you.
Great. So I think you have been exposed today to a lot of ways of how you can start prototyping and a lot of tools. And I want you, before we leave the session, to start brainstorming with your team on how you're gonna prototype your very first, low fidelity prototype. And this is why we asked you on Slack to have some papers, some sticky notes, some pens, where you can start scribbling things and writing things. Of course, I mean, paper might not be enough at this phase, depending on your solution, but for many of you, I think it would be great. Okay, so now in the breakout rooms, I want you to brainstorm with your team about how you're gonna be using these tools and methods to start brainstorming, okay? And start prototyping. All right, so I already prepared the breakout rooms, and I have Jihan from Riyadh team who will be like, and myself as well, we will be, maybe Walid can do that as well, rotating between the different rooms just to make sure that you are fine. And again, we do not expect you to have a prototype in 15 minutes. However, we expect you to start thinking, okay, what's the plan? How do I want to prototype? What do I need to do? Okay, so for example, at Riyada, we are building an e-learning platform. How do we prototype this? We started in the summer with creating YouTube videos because we wanted to test our content first. So YouTube is already a platform that's there. We put our videos there, and we had we were working with UNDP on the Youth Leadership Program, and we tested the content. That was a great prototype. No e-learning platform, nothing, just YouTube videos. Okay, so I want you to think from a similar perspective, and I'm gonna open the rooms now. Of course, anybody who did not rename themselves, we couldn't know where to place them.
And I think it also shows if you are interactive with us physically and mentally, or you're just like signing into the conversation to show yourself that you are here.
Exactly, and it would actually be great, like for the other facilitators, maybe from SOGLab, because I mean, in the past few sessions which I have been present, when we were opening the breakout rooms, we found out that there wasn't too much interaction going on. So we would like to double check that, because it's important for the program to know who is like really with us, who is listening, who is doing the activities, and who's just there but not really there, okay, in reality. So that would be really good if we can do that.
Yeah, so I'm seeing here that there is Jehan Sharafdin with her video on. So Jehan
is from Riyadh, and she will be rotating in the rooms.
Okay, perfect.
You are
perfect.
a co-host.
It's
Can you just join
okay.
some rooms, or do you want me to do that?
Yeah. I will join room team 11.
And other ones like Ayan, like Eno, guys, can you write your team number next to your name, or
your
name?
Is that possible? Is it possible to change it from here?
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry guys, I'm so dumb when it comes to technology. Where are we?
Yes, you will just try to go check your name on the participant part. You will have the plus, then click on plus, then you can have like, you can rename yourself. You will have rename.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, also for any other.
Or I can share their teams, for
Will
example.
Work?
Of course,
Perfect.
Yeah.
Now we can affect you to your team. So I think we have like Ayan with the team, right? Also we have Fatima like with 18.
Enu from 16. Enu from 16. And let me find Catherine. Catherine from 41.
Yes, but the question is, Goxel, if they are here with us or not.
Yeah.
That's why we've tried to tell them to rename themselves to see if they are present, because if they can't rename themselves, they just can ask us, so we can avoid like if.
Hello.
Perfect. So Christina needs to be added.
Yes,
to
I just had a
45.
bad connection. Yani I couldn't. I forgot to rename. I just did it.
Perfect.
I'm at team 45.
Perfect. Mona, do you can like add team 40 like Christina
Yes,
from
I'm
team 45?
adding as we go. I mean,
Great.
as they are changing their names, I'm directly
Perfect.
adding them.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I think Belize is also ready to share after the practical activity all the to-dos.
Yes.
Yes.
As always.
Perfect. The others who like they
If
still
you
have.
want me to join a room, let me know. Hi, Walid.
Hi, Yasmin.
I work with Mona and Riyada, so
okay, perfect.
I'm just asking her if she wants me to join a room. I don't mind.
Okay, super. I'm just like verifying. Anissa, Mulan, Muhammad, are you with us or not? Ali, Like if you're having any struggle to rename yourself, you can ask us and we can like share with you how you can rename. I think we still just have Tony here, Christina without their teams because they already renamed themselves, but we are waiting for others. Okay, no worries, Christina. My colleague Mona will add you to your team now. But you can start like thinking about your solution and your prototype, so you can do it from now.
Okay, so everybody is assigned. Everybody who has renamed themselves are assigned. Walid, I don't know if you would like to go to some rooms. Maybe because you're a co-host, I believe you can just choose.
Yes, I can join the other teams.
So same thing applies for the other SOGLab facilitators. If you can join any rooms, they just have to think of prototypes for their own projects. As simple as that. It should be like very. The instructions are very easy. They just have to talk together and see, okay, how do we want to start with the prototype? What do we want to use, etc. Doxel, can I make you host so I start rotating within the rooms? Yes, Isnaira.
So I kind of changed from my laptop because it was low bat. So did you start already the breakout rooms?
Yes.
I'm so sorry.
Yes. Which team are you? Can you rename yourself with your team number?
I'm from. I thought I changed it already from my computer. I didn't realize.
But I cannot see it. What is it? Which number is it?
She's from Turkey. I checked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Goxa, can I make you host to start going
and also you can send Belize and Buse and Alina to our groups as well.
Yes, but they can join because they're co-hosts. They can also do it themselves if they want.
Okay. Let's go, guys.
Mona, do you need me to do so or is it?
Do you have time?
Yeah, I can do it.
Yes, of course. Okay. So Yasmin, I'll also make you co-host.
So I join various rooms or should I stay in the same one?
Depends if they're like struggling hard, you can like try to have them. If not, then you can just keep rotating.
Okay.
All right. So Goxa, I'm gonna make you host.
Okay, thank you so much.
And if you can make me co-host again. So Yasmin, you can just press on breakout rooms and choose which group you want to join.
Yeah, I'm trying to join 16 now.
Okay, great. So Goxa, if you can make me co-host again to be able to go to a room.
So sorry, I am the host right now.
Yeah. Yeah, can you just make me co-host? And I think if Relia from Team 20 wants to join his room.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And let me jump another team.
Hi. I was just in room 20 and they're asking for their teammates Ifrilia and Jamil. So
Can you ask my teammate as well, please, Mohammed? But I think he might have.
Yeah. Yes, team 20. I'm team 20 and I'm waiting someone for
to put you in the room. Okay, okay, just give me a minute. Put in 1 minute.
I think we're back on the main room.
Yes, so I know maybe this wasn't like enough time to do everything, but we just wanted to get you started with this thinking process. And like, I hope you at least like try to come up with which tool I want to use. Do I want to start sketching it on paper? Do I want to use a software? What do I want to do? So we want you to take this further with your teams and be proactive and meet with your team and work on this, because also tomorrow we will have guest speaker talking to you about user experience and user interface. Her name is Lara Shikhani and she's an expert UX UI designer with Oliver Wyman in Doha, Qatar. So I'm sure also her session will add a lot of value, and she has also prepared some interactive activities. So we are counting on your interaction and engagement, especially when it comes to the breakout rooms.
Don't miss this guest speaker, guys.
Yes, and I think maybe tonight we can have the Zoom link, Dr. if it's possible, on the Slack.
Yep.
Great. So that's it for me. Walid, you had like one last closing remark?
I think that we've made everything clear till now. Like from my experience with 3 teams during the breakout room, I think it's good that you don't think about like using the means or the tools, because a website, as I said before, an app, a box, a place, they are like just like ways to implement your solution. But your solution, it should be a clear value and how the best way, like you fulfill your target audience need. When you're answering this question, then you can say, okay, so the best way to do it is by using a mobile application, because they are all on smartphones and they have a good connectivity, etc. If it's not the case, then the best way to use it's by using like the national television or like a space close or near of them, etc. So like don't just follow this trendy things, because remember, low tech, high tech, or no tech solutions, they don't make a difference. What makes a difference is that you create value for them and you make a change in their lives in the best way and in the most adapted way to their daily life. And that's why we call it user experience, and you will need to have the best user experience. So I think that's like the closing words from my side, and it was like a pleasure to collaborate with Riyadh during the session. And I think it's mic over to you, dear Gaxel.
Sorry, Walid. I have a question, a quick one. Sorry.
Of course you can. Yeah.
I wish to ask, what is the importance of wireframes in prototyping? Walid, can you?
Yes. So I think here why it's good for prototyping. Like either we're talking about wireframe or like even the wireframes that give us the how can I say that, the possibility to see active and real testing. It's to see people how they will interact with just the experience. Is it good for them? If they are struggling with like some parts of it or not. And that's why we will need to have the sketch part and also to move to the wireframe part in a more designed and easiest way to test. Because I will give you just an example. If I will give you a nap sketch, it's good. You will imagine if I click on this, I will see this. But if I will give you a testable and an active wireframe or an active like solution like Marvel app or InDesign, when you will click, you will see the results without coding. So you will see like the reaction of the customer, and he will see what's like the flow of the information. Is it easy? Is it complicated? Is it comfortable from him? Does he need any needed knowledge to use it, etc.? Is this clear for you, Tika?
Yeah, sure, it's clear. Thanks very much for that explanation.
I just want to add, sorry.
A little bit thing for TK. And in IDEO, one of the biggest design firm, and also they produce the human-centered design and design thinking. We call this process thinking with our hands. And if you create something tangible, and you can get feedbacks from another person, another team, or your target group especially, and also it's like a little bit easier way to before the fancy ones. Okay, it's like a looking simple before the last product. Just for get to know more details from users. How can they use and how can they join your products or etc. Okay,
and think of it as like if you want to construct a building, right? Like, do you directly start building it, or do you create a blueprint first?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like it's a blueprint. I mean, because a lot of people say like, I know exactly how it's gonna be, and then you tell them, okay, draw it, and they're gonna have some difficult time because there's some details they haven't thought of before. So it gives you the chance to think of all the details before you start executing. So it's like really creating a blueprint of your solution.
Can I ask a question, please?
Yes, I am.
Do you know how if we create a prototype, someone mentioned in the chat, think of creating a prototype that applies to the different problems you have. So kind of like killing two birds with one stone. But for example, if you use social media, so say the prototype is information sharing. And at this stage, we will use social media because that's very easy, straightforward, boom. And then later on, it can be scaled into a community program or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
What's the preference at this stage? Because there's different scales to it when you're prototyping.
Exactly, when you start prototyping, you will realize that you cannot do all at once. So this like theoretical thinking will be eliminated, and you will start seeing yourself thinking more practically and like, oh, like I have to have like one good thing, otherwise people will get lost. So this is why we always say, don't start with too many solutions. You have to start with one specific solution to a very specific problem. And when you start prototyping, you will realize why this is important, because you cannot do it otherwise. It's impossible to directly build a prototype that solves several things. You have to be very specific.
But to what scale is my question? We can be specific with a prototype, but what is the preference of the scale? Should, for example, we were mentioning earlier, an app or a YouTube or social media, or what is it? What scale are we looking at?
I think it's a little bit up to your team capacity, right, guys?
Your business.
You have to decide, but again, we always say like you have to start very small. So and have big ambitions, like start small, dream big. Like always, you have to think of something that can scale and grow and become really impactful. But to start with, it has to be very, very small and very specific.
Yes, I can here like just to give an example. Like if you know Books Lab, you will know that we're having like three big brands, and one of the brands is an empathy platform called Tefannun. And in this platform, before building it, like the idea was to see how can we deliver empathy content to people in Morocco and also in the Grand Maghreb. And to do so, we didn't start from making like the platform, like a bunch of videos, etc. But we start to make small videos that resemble to what we want at the end or as a final product, and to see how people interact with them and what's their feedback. Then, and here, like in our case, the idea was to see how can we test these videos with so many people and with more than the 3F, the friends, family, and fools. Then when we had the needed interaction, we start to build like the more advanced solution, etc. So it depends on your product. It depends on your context, but to always keep in mind how I can, if I want to have my solution tested tomorrow, what I should do now. And obviously, I can't do complicated things. I should start from a point. Then, by generating the first feedback, I can like propose and offer a better solution, and then I can go on.
So we have to start with only one problem and one solution, even if we have in our team more than one problem that we are facing.
Prototype, it's like make the realistic you appearing. So you should always like focus on like one. Yes, think small. Think small.
Start small,
it should be like think big. Start small, then you can grow fast. This is like the real mindset.
Thank you so much, Walid. Yeah, I got it.
Perfect.
Okay,
amazing.
Back to Belize. If you're ready for the instructions, guys.
Yeah. Okay. So can you share?
I can.
You can, please. Can you?
Let me share. Yep.
Okay. Hi everyone. So I will just briefly talk about the instructions of this week. But before that, let's check where we are right now. And before any of this, thanks Mona and Walid for this amazing session. It was quite joyful for me as well. So we are in the prototyping stage, as you might guess from today's session. We are done with the ideation phase. You see it was pretty fast compared to inspiration phase. Again, now we are in the prototyping. Just a quick reminder that you will have a presentation at the share stage. There are two sub-phases of share. In the first one, you will present your project, and there will be an elimination process after your presentations. The ones that stay with us will start redesigning, which is the second phase of share stage. So let's see the instructions of this week. Göksel, can you move to the next slide?
Okay. You can see, right?
I couldn't, but maybe it's because
okay.
of me.
Now? Let me share again, guys. Sorry for my disruption. Yeah. Can you see?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Can you see? Sorry, guys. Let me check again. Share my screen. And now? Can you see now?
I'm losing faith, Göksel.
Oh my gosh. Please let me know if...
It says you have started screen sharing, but like it's still black, like we cannot see the actual screen.
I don't know what's the problem. What? Buse try to share 5 pages documents name in our Google Drive.
You see, guys, sometimes the IT guy even can have technical problems.
But it was a Murphy law, I think.
The screen is a little bit shy.
Machines are made by man and automatically has to fail us one day.
Are you ready? Okay, just a minute, guys. But I can share again for my... Okay, Buse started the sharing. Let's continue. Can you open with Google Slides? Yeah. Thank you so much. We have some GIFs.
Okay, here we go.
Yep.
Buse, can you move to the next slide, please? Okay. Let me share the instructions of this week. The next one as well. Okay, great. So first you will choose one solution idea from last week's applicability impact scale. So you remember that you categorized the ideas from World Cafe and you decided their impact and applicability. So you will choose one solution idea from that scale and present us the final one. So you can always combine more than one ideas to build services or systems or experiences, because you know that each category adds up to itself. So either choose one or combine multiple ideas to present us one final solution. Then the next slide, please.
And don't forget to add below, guys, which you already decided, which solution idea will be prototype.
So after you choose, you will either copy or rewrite the solution at the bottom of that mural. You will choose this idea to prototype, okay? So you will create your design with some of the digital tools that Walid mentioned. And you will decide on the right tools for your solution. So focus on what's important for you here. Create a prototype with the right digital tools. We will, I think, share the slides after the session. So you can check which tools you have from there as well. And finally, can we move? Yeah, okay. You will share your prototype with us. So basically, it can be an image, it can be a video or a link. You can be creative here. So you will design a prototype and you will share it with us. So you will post, again, the link, video, picture, whatever it is, here on the Make Sub Phase mural so that we can access it and give you our feedback. But please give us something from which we can understand your prototype as well. So we need to see what you come up with, okay? So design your prototype and present it to us through this mural.
Some apps guys already produce some special link for that reason, and maybe you can share directly to add here, and after then we can give some feedbacks your prototype. Yeah, like mural. Yeah. And especially you can design a practical ones in using Mural, guys. Mural has some icons library. You can find the left sidebar, and please try this solution way to design something basic. Okay.
I think we have a question, Göksel.
Of course. Check.
It has to be one prototype or a lot of them? I think we are expecting one, right?
Yeah, start small.
Yeah, we are expecting one because you have, I think, 2 days before the feedback sessions, tomorrow and the day after. Yeah,
but
we can go to the.
You can combine and some of them together, or you can add some, make detailed version for your prototype. Okay, which color, which size, or something like that. Okay.
We can go to the last slide. Okay, to wrap up the to-dos, you will choose one of the design solutions or combine which you want to create prototype. Then you will use digital tools, the ones probably that Walid mentioned. You will use digital tools, whatever you need to prototype your solution idea. So these tools will help you create your prototype. Then you will show us the link, the pictures, video, whichever from which we can understand your prototype, and you will post it on the Make Sub Phase mural Canva. Okay, so you will go to your mural and you will put it on Make Sub Phase canvas to get feedback from us. Okay, that should be it from my side. I think we have checkout activity.
Yep.
Right.
Yes, I will see. It's all is clear.
Yeah. Do you have any questions? Is it all clear? I hope it is.
And before the checkout, guys, please, you know, internet has so many tutorial videos, especially in YouTube, for these like prototyping tools, and please search them, and you can share to us with the supply channel, so everyone can reach the video.
Exactly.
Please find them and share to everyone. Check out activity now.
Perfect. I will share my screen.
Great.
Excuse me, just.
Recording link, guys, ready after 1 hour. Today's recording link. And I will inform you.
Perfect. I'm struggling to share my screen. What's the problem with technology?
Yeah, what a nice Murphy tonight. In everyone's home.
Is it clear now? Not yet. Okay, but the struggle is with Minty now. But you know what? We will do it just here on the conversation, just to avoid any problem. Okay, so the question is easy. We did it before. We will do it now. Share with share with each other the worst app that you ever used. Like the app that you opened. you can share it on the conversation because I'm struggling with Minty. So yes, the names. Then I will pick some names and you will explain why they are the worst ever. So let's see like some real example of like bad and worse user experience and UI.
I have a solid example of the worst experience I had with the shopmanship.
Okay, you can share it with us. We can start with you.
Okay, so just a minute.
Okay, so just like there's talent, try to share it on the conversation. Share the name of the worst app you've ever used. So yes, you can go.
Yes, I had that bad experience with the hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Yeah, I had that bad experience on the day of Black Friday. I ordered only one shipment and the shopmanship so they can get more money of me. They separated and divided the one shipment to two shipments. So I had to pay twice. And I was like, I went to the review application. I said that you guys, you're the worst, you're thieves. I'm definitely going to work with DHL. I'm not gonna do that. And they said, I'm so sorry that you had that bad experience. And now they updated my shipments. They called me to deliver the shipments, but at the end of the day, I paid more than I should do. Can you believe that? Please, guys, if you hear me, don't you ever deal with Aramex and shopmanship. Go straight with DHL.
Did they accept the payback, Fatima?
No, you have to pay. You have to pay for your shipments.
Oh, I imagine.
I'm like, guys, I have no money right now because I paid the delivery fee more than the merchandise themselves. Can you believe that?
I imagine. So I think here it wasn't the problem either with the user experience, either with the user interface. It was the problem with like the customer service support. So I
they are thieves, and I was like, you're thieves. I went to the review. I went to Twitter. I went to Facebook. I was like, this is going to be a scandal, but no one heard me.
Yeah. So please, guys, like teams, try to take care of your customers, or you will have a customer like who was talking just like to verify. Was speaking. You will have like an angry customer who will like review you low in all the platforms. So I think we have another experience from Raisa. Raisa, you can go. Yeah.
Yeah, hello. So I was like, after this whole session, we kind of got confused, our team. The whole thing you guys were talking about is an application, and what if our ultimate goal is mostly a service? Like we can't really make a prototype, or if it's a service, I mean, we cannot go come up with an application or a website. So what do you suggest?
Yes, I will give you an example of service. Now, please, while I'm answering Raisa, try to write on the Zoom discussion like the name of the worst app you've ever used. We need some interaction, please. I had an issue with Minty, so please try to write it on the discussion. Thanks, Hiba. So just to answer your question, Raisa, I will give you a simple example like for a service. So if I provide like some trainings for a target group, like it's a long program, either online or offline, and I want to try it. The best way to do it is to do a 1 session or a 1 week or a 4 session test, like with just 5, 4 or more people, and I can generate the feedback. And this is a service. Even like for Kareem or Uber before they started, the way they prototype their service, it was like by having, I can say that a paper with the numbers of the drivers licensed by Uber. And then you can have the paper with the number, and you can call them to see if they are around. There is always a solution to prototype anything, and I can challenge you now. You can give me a solution, and I can give you one like example of how you can prototype it from scratch. Okay. Is it clear? Yeah, you can get perfect. You want to challenge me, and give me an example?
I will write down an example. Just like I raised my hand before and I didn't get the chance to talk. That's why I needed to talk now. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. So I think from like here the names, I have my fitness Paul. So please, Monia, can you share with us what's the problem with this app? My fitness Paul.
For me, the problem is like I'm not a nutritionist of something. Like I don't know how many calories has an apple, and I don't know, like I don't weight my apples or this kind of stuff. Like it was too technical for me. Like I need something simply, and it also asks about the kind of fats it have, and I just do not know.
I think it was made for fitness addict people, not for normal people who want to just push through the calories. That's a good point.
That was not for me, definitely.
Yes, I think it's not gonna be for me either. So yeah, we have also Hiba. Hiba, you can share with us your experience with Riwi. What's Riwi?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, we hear you.
So this app was done by a university teacher, Yale University teacher, and she actually created a course for mental health for the students of Yale. And she had some activities in the course, and she tried to put them in an app so that any student, even not in Yale, can use it. But I think the idea was really good, but the way the app was built was not, I don't know, I felt like the app was not at that level. And also, I feel like usually apps have this tendency to make you kind of hooked. On it, you always want to check it, like like social media and all these things. And since this app had to do with like improving our behavior, I wanted it to kind of make me a bit addicted but I wasn't, and I feel like maybe it wasn't, I don't know, maybe it wasn't that well thought of. I don't know.
Yes, I imagine. Even me, like I can share with you an experience. Like I've just bought a PS4, and I've tried to install like PUBG to play it on PS4. And trust me, I was like for 30 minutes struggle to know how I can just play. Just like, please try to move me to a map so I can play. And I was just stuck on the parameters and everything. Then I closed the app and then I moved to play FIFA 21. So please, guys, try to make your how can I say that, your solutions appealing, easy to use, easy to understand. The flow of information is clear, so people will use it and will even give you and advise you on how you can improve it. And here, I think we have like the last question. It's about if I have an idea with 2 solutions, how I can prototype it. Please focus on 1 solution. This is like the best advice I can give you. It's always complicated to start with too many solutions, and by many solutions we will have many resources to mobilize. We know that you are like a team composed of 3-4 people, so we will be distracted, you will lose focus, etc. So try to see a solution that can be effective and efficient, but with a clear value proposition, with a clear offer. Because I will say it again, platform, boxes, places, etc. are just forms. But the most important thing, it's the function, what you will do to solve the need. Okay? So I think we're done with the how can I say that, the checkout activity. So sorry for having the problem with Minty and having the problem with the screen to share it with you. But I hope that everything is clear for you. Yeah. So if you have any other questions, you can use Slack to ask them. Dear Gaxel, dear Mona, over to you.
Thank you, Walid.
So much, dear Walid and dear Mona, and have a nice team co-working, guys, for the next 2 days. And don't forget all to-dos and all inspirational prototyping tools. Please use them, try to use them, and share your questions in your team channel with your facilitators. Don't forget that. Don't be shy about that. And take a rest.
Great.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, guys.
Goodbye. Rocket.
İyi akşamlar.
İyi akşamlar everyone.